All right, everyone. First of all, hello, everyone. I am basically another instructor of this course. My name is Gopal Tiwari. I know that you guys are basically, having first time conversation with me, and I'm going a first session of yours. So let me first quickly introduce myself before going to be start the another topic which we are going to cover today's session. So let me quickly share my screen and let me know if you guys are able to see my screen. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Hope you guys are able to see my screen, right?
Yeah, visible.
All right, guys. So this is just one slider about myself. Who am I, and what basically how many years of experience I do have. So let me just give you a brief about myself. As you know, my name is Gopal Tiwari, and currently I'm working as a technical lead in one of the pharma industry. And I do have around more than 8+ years of experience in RPA domain itself. But apart from that, have 2 years of experience with the .NET programming as well. So in RPA especially, I do have 8+ years of experience, and not only in RPA, basically other technologies like Python, .NET, SQL, API integration. So have utilized all those in my tenure, like. And then if I talk about the certification side, I'm a certified advanced RPA developer, and then have basically recently does the UiPath solution architect certification as well. And apart from that, aside from UiPath, like have done some of the certification from Avi Flexi Capture for document, you can say, like the same basically we do in UiPath document extraction via the models. There is a Avi, they provide the same kind of model functionality. So that basically have done that, and have basically also done a couple of specialization you can say certification into the machine learning and Gen AI side. And that currently is still going on. So they are basically part of that as well. And if I talk about my tenure to the RPA journey till now, have worked on many projects. If I talk about specifically to the domain side, like airline, telecom domain, banking domain, finance domain, currently working on a healthcare domain as well. So yeah, means it's a quite a basically roller coaster journey till now for me, and have basically gained a lot of knowledge to the other domain specific things as well, not only to the RP but other things as well. Like I would always suggest to the people and also always follow for my path like that, to be not stuck in a specific tool or something, but try to basically gain the knowledge to the technologies wise as well. Like if I talk about a specific language, you should have a command on that. So those kind of basically mantra I do have, and I follow those only. So that's about myself, and I hope it's basically give you a just glimpse about myself. Yeah. All right, so I think this is about myself, and I just not waste the time right now to get an introduction from all of you because this is already being done. So let's move to our session today. What we're gonna talk and what we're gonna basically in this session what we're gonna cover. So in this today's session we are going to cover the another topic, very important topic. Basically, I would say email automation in UiPath, and in this we will first see that what basically how we want to do that email automation using UiPath, what is email automation. And we also covered that what are the basically basic you can say prerequisite to do that email automation in UiPath, and what are the key factors, or you can say some of the key activities being provided by the UiPath, which basically on a whenever you are going to utilize the email automation, so those basically reading or saving the emails, those kind of activity will help you there. So we'll talk about that as well. And then we'll basically show example on that retrieving email from the UiPath using some of the mail providers or servers, basically you can say that. And then we'll talk about how to send emails using UiPath. There are other basically mechanism or multiple ways to sending the mail via the UiPath. So that we will basically cover. So this is the mainly the agenda of this today's class. And very first, we will talk about what is email automation. I hope, guys, I'm not going to very much fast, or if it is feel like to you like I'm going too much fast, or you feel like you are basically lagging somewhere, just basically stop me and I'll basically clarify your doubt. Okay. So we'll start very first with the what is email automation. Till now, any one of you guys know that what is email automation? Anyone? All right, no worries. So basically, if I talk about email automation in UiPath, okay, email automation in UiPath, or not only in UiPath, basically general terminology, if I say that email automation. So in a digital world, basically, right, we used to basically for communication purpose we utilize a mail, right? Email mechanism or email you can say platform we utilize to communicate each other. So that sometime the mail automation or sorry the email can help you in the automation basically to get input for the bot, or the output can be generated by the bot and send the report to the respective people, right? These are the two basically if you think as a email automation. So you will think about like, okay, mail automation is there, but what is mail we are doing in a general basis? Like we are trying to communicate each other, right? And if we talk about in UiPath, so UiPath is providing us a bot, right? Which can basically be via which we are trying to automate some task, right? So that task might require some input which is coming from the mail itself, or a task basically generating as an output some result which we are sending back to the business user. That again a output result, right? These are the two ways can be basically performed. Agree with me? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please be attentive to the class because I feel like, if you guys be muted yourself or you will not basically, just basically, try to gel up with me and then basically, we will go together. All right, so we understood that email automation require basically mainly we if you say one is the input purpose, right? One is the input purpose and the second one is the output purpose, right? So these are the two main way basically we can say that the mail automation we need it. Now if I talk about the input, so the input from the mail, from the mail, the input can be in how many ways? You know that already you know. In mail, if you go, how many places you fill the details? You fill from address, right? You or not, no, you don't fill the from address but you fill the true address, right? You fill the subject, you fill the body, you fill the if you want to send some document to someone, you attach some documents as well, right? So how many ways you are getting the input? Maybe the input you will get it from the subject, right? Mail subject, or maybe the mail sender detail, right? Mail sender details, or maybe it's in a body or the attachment. Agree with me till this part? We may get the input from these are the input places, right? Maybe from the subject, maybe from the mail sender detail, or maybe from the body or the attachment, right? The same way, if you wanna send the output, right? What are the details we need to set to the output? Again, the same. We need to basically prepare a, you can say directly a mail. We just need to basically, have some subject, right? Have some subject, have some mail sender details as well, right? Mail recipient details, sorry, right? Mail recipient details. And then we need a, you can say body of the data, right? Body of the mail, correct? And then if we want to send, we can send the attachment as well. So these are the basically a general terminology. Everyone knows this. This is nothing new, right? But just why I would like to basically, before going to the mail part to the UiPath side, I just would like to give you a glimpse that why we use the email automation, right? What is the purpose of that? And what we want to achieve on this? So that you can just you can just basically create a picture in your mind right now that you having a you are trying to basically achieve via the email automation, that where maybe you some places you are trying to get the input for a bot or your task which you are trying to automate from the mail, or a purpose that you are trying to basically notify some of the business user at last, basically when the process has been completed, right? These are the two basically general methods where we will going to utilize the mail automation. All right, till this part, everyone agree with me? Please,
Yes,
yes or
sir.
no? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right then. So now we will move forward and then see what are the ways to basically connect or to do the UiPath mail automation. Okay. So yes, Shubham, go ahead, please.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to know what is retype information in legacy system. Like what that
What?
last point. So like,
Retype information legacy system means that retype information means, let's suppose you have a legacy system you are trying to you can say you are trying to automate, and that retype information is nothing but it's just again the input only. Means that you are trying to get it somewhere the data source to for the legacy system to perform some action. That's it. No
oh,
basically big deal on this. Don't go with the terminology right now. Just think about like it's a input purpose only for a legacy as well.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, but
So let's move to the part right now. But before starting, before jumping to the UiPath side, right? So you all know that whenever we are trying to do a automation in UiPath, we have some prerequisite need to be done, right? So as in email automation as well, I hope you guys basically till now gone through some, like in the managed services. Did you guys know this managed services part in UiPath or not? Just tell me first. What
Yes,
is
we
this
know.
managed services? Yeah, Talago. Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, managed services, I mean, it's a package, right?
Correct, correct. So, whenever we are trying to achieve anything, right? Achieve anything, I mean to say, we wanted to do something in UiPath, it requires some dependencies need to be added. Anyhow, the dependencies might be by default added to your project when you are trying to creating the project, or might be a chance that you need to basically explicitly add those properties or add those dependencies in your project before starting anything, right? So that's the very first step. So whenever we say we're gonna basically do a mail automation, so we need a dependency or a package which Thala said that is called uipart.mail.activities. Okay, I'm come to this part. I'll come to you. Just basically think about that. It's a basic point or a starting point for us. Whenever we basically going to do the automation, we need this. That's it. Currently, if you see that in your project, if you have till now developed something, you will find that that dependency is being already populated by UiPath itself. It's not no longer basically you need to don't need to basically explicitly download it. It's a by default package which it come under the project. Okay, so it's a necessary step, but that's why I'm going to explain that. Let's move our next part basically, which we are going to talk that email automation using UiPath. So before jumping to this part, I would like to say some of the things here, some of the main important things which can help you to understand. So not only in UiPath, it's a general terminology. Okay, whenever we are trying to read we are trying to read basically you can say like whenever we are trying to achieve a connection between mail automation or sorry mail, basically any of the mail provider. Let's suppose Outlook you have used till now. If you guys are working, you basically familiar with the Outlook, right? And in your day-to-day life, just a general example, Gmail you everyone has used, right? or maybe a yahoomail.com, right? So those are the mail provider, or you can say that mail services server provider, where we can use the mail, right? Our mails, right? To write, to send a mail, to read the mail, all those things we do in that platform. So any of the programming, not only to the UiPath, any of the programming, if we wanted to write a program which can communicate with the, you can say your any of the mail server, you need some of the protocols to read that. Okay, here why I am basically, please let me know if it is going to very much advanced to you guys, but just the protocols way you can understand that it's kind of a mediator in between to your application via which, or a program via which you are trying to access the mail server. That's it. That's the mediator part. Basically, it's trying to, providing a functionality of handshaking between the Gmail to the UiPath. That's it. This is basically what about I mean to say over here protocol. Got it? Till now, is there any concern or question? So that I'll move next. Okay, no question. So let's talk about what are the protocols we do have. Okay, or you can say mechanism to mechanism to access mail, right? Access mail services. This is basically going to be utilized everywhere, not only to the UiPath, but I am talking about a journal terminology. So very first you do have, I'm just writing right now, then I'll come to that. Okay. Very first you do have IMAP protocol. Okay. Then you have POP3 protocol. Then you do have SMTP protocol. Okay. Then you have Exchange Mail Service. Exchange Mail Services. Okay. And last one, basically, we'll consider that as well. It's not a protocol, but it's a general terminology. We all know that it's a Outlook application, right? We everyone knows that till this part, every Outlook application, everyone is familiar about, right? Only the you guys don't know, I believe, like IMAP is what is IMAP, what is POP3, what is SMTP, and what is this exchange mail service. I believe some of you know or some of you won't know, right? So let's first talk about these protocols which are helping us to having a handshake between our program or our application, which is in terms of right now in UiPath, which we are trying to basically establish a connection between our server. Right now, if I say server, which is maybe a Gmail, which is maybe a Outlook server, which is maybe a Yahoo server, or maybe some other, right? So if we are trying to build a connection between these server and trying to read the data or write the data back to that server via the mail communication, we need some protocol in place. And the very first protocol to basically have that, it's called Internet Message Access Protocol. Okay, IMAP is stand for Internet Message Access Protocol. Let me write it down here. Okay, it's a Internet Message Access Protocol. Okay, so this protocol always help you to retrieve the mails from any of the IMAP server. IMAP means Internet Message Access Protocol, means whatever the server are basically supported IMAP. Like Google is supported. Every server who is utilizing the, you can say, a mail services, they support this IMAP. Okay, nowadays is very much used, and IMAP basically protocol, it's always utilized for retrieving the mail messages, not for sending, only retrieving. Okay, keep in mind that it's only for retrieve the mail messages. Retrieve mail messages. Okay, and the second main advantage of this protocol is that it helps you to move the mail messages from one folder to another. Basically, it helps you to move if you wanted to basically, move, let's suppose a ABC mail from your inbox to the draft or maybe somewhere else, right? So that you can do via the this IMAP protocol. Okay. So that is the one way of this one basically pros of this you can say IMAP. Okay. Okay. So now we understood that. And another thing is that it basically help you to mark the mail as after reading the mail. If you wanted to basically mark it as read or the unread mail message, you can do that via the IMAP. That is the one thing we understood from the IMAP, right? So till now, we understood from IMAP that IMAP is the Internet Message Access Protocol, which help always us to retrieve the data from the mail server. And it is always going to be retrieve purpose for getting the mail messages, not for sending. Okay. Now, as we understood that IMAP is going to be basically helping us to retrieve, there is another mail message protocol which is called POP3. Okay, which is another is POP3. POP3 stand for Post Office Protocol. Okay, Post Office Protocol. Nowadays this basically protocol is already obsolete. It's no longer to be basically used in the, you can say, in our current digital market digital scenarios. But just that you can think about like why it is there. First of all, you need to understand why it is there. So this POP3 again the similar, it basically helping you to retrieve the mail messages. But the thing is that it directly trying to communicate. There is a basically client and server communication in this POP3. And what it does, it basically, the client send the request to the server, like maybe a POP3 server, you can just think about like Gmail server. Okay. So client is maybe your desktop application, which trying to basically connect via the POP3 to your Gmail server. What it does, it will retrieve the mail from your server and then delete the mail from the server so that next time you won't get it the same mail. Okay, so that is the drawback of this POP3, due to which basically it not going to be utilized later days, and it has other cons as well. But irrespective of this POP3, we are using now IMAP. Okay, because POP3 is not that much efficient to basically, if it is deleting something or marking as directly as unread to the server level as well, if it's making the changes at the server level, it's not good, right? So people has utilized at the very beginning phase, but they basically come up with this another protocol called IMAP, and they utilize later days basically this IMAP only. So POP3 and IMAP are similar. Just the difference is that POP3 is basically trying to communicate from the client to server, and it going to basically, once it get read, it will basically remove and mark the or remove or mark the basically, that particular mail as unread. So sorry, read basically. Okay, so that's the issue over there. Because of that, the POP3 is not going to utilize nowadays. This is the main disadvantage of this POP3. The another protocol over here we do have is SMTP. SMTP, I hope you guys know that, but I'll just basically, come up that as well. So SMTP is another protocol which is basically a simple mail transfer protocol, right? Simple mail transfer protocol. Till now, we understood that IMAP is basically for retrieving the mail messages. POP3 is also retrieving the mail messages. But SMTP is sending the mail messages. Mail transfer. You know that it's a basically implies with its name itself, mail transfer protocol. It just for utilizing to sending the mail messages. And SMTP is again similar like IMAP. It basically, provide you some mechanism to between your server and your application and program to handshake and try to basically, send the mail communication. And SMTP only allows you to sending the mail messages, not retrieving. Okay, this is basically another mail transfer protocol. Got it till now? Any question anyone has?
Yes,
Go
quick
ahead, please.
question. So what's the difference between POP3 again and IMAP?
Huh. So it's basically, POP3 and IMAP are using similar basically mechanism. They are trying to retrieve the mail messages. But IMAP, one difference is that IMAP allow you to basically, transfer your mail from one folder to another directly. Basically, it has the mechanism. It will allow you to basically, move your mail messages from one folder to another, which you can do, which you can't do from POP3. One thing is that. Second thing is that POP3 has one more limitation, is that it basically, once it get read, it basically, delete the data from the mail server, so that next time the syncing, whenever the syncing has happened, or you are trying to basically read the data from again from the client, it won't get give you the same mail address. It will delete from the server, which is a very very much drawback, you can say, right? Because it's trying
Yeah.
to save something in the client machine, but deleting from the server side, right? So that's the
Yeah.
main difference of the IMAP and POP3. Hope I basically cleared this out to you.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
not. Thanks.
Any other question? Come on, guys. It's feel good whenever basically, like before starting, because we will cover these anyhow again, like whenever we having a practical session, because I'm going to give you some example of the IMAP, to how we will basically retrieve, how we'll send the mail message via the SMTP, how we basically, utilize the Outlook, that I come up. But I would like you to be more familiar with this terminology, otherwise it will just kind of a black box for you. No question? Can I move next? All right. I'll take your silence as no. Then the next one is basically, we do have called exchange mail services. Okay. This is very much you all are familiar with, but just that you basically know, as a name, it's not directly implies what it is. So it's basically a Microsoft enterprise, license, or you can say a services, which helping us to read the data directly from the mail server, Microsoft mail server. Okay. So Office 365 server, if you wanted to read something, we all utilize, if you guys are on a daily basis utilizing the Outlook application, that Outlook application itself is also connecting with the Office 365 server only. So this exchange mail services, these are the Microsoft enterprise services to communicate with the Office 365 service, mail server directly. So that is the basically a exchange mail service, and require this will basically give you a mechanism for sending the mail messages, also retrieving that. Both it can do, and even it can do the moving of the mail messages from one folder to another. That mechanism is also being there in this exchange mail services. Only thing is that it's a paid. You can't utilize this as a free of license is not that. Basically, it is a paid version, and you can basically, utilize, you are trying to directly communicate with the server. You are not basically dependent to the client. So let me just give you example. People ask this question like, what is the difference between exchange mail services and Outlook application? You all know that what is Outlook application. Let me just give you first of all what is Outlook application, then I'll come with this difference. So that you will just understood like what going on over here. So the Outlook application, if you guys on a daily basis using the Outlook application is basically, behind the scene, it using Office 365 services only. Okay. Or Office 365 server only. But how it is does, how it does. So if you aware that it's using desktop APIs to connect with this server. So it is using a desktop API to connect with Outlook Office 365 server. So that is why you have maybe faced this situation that sometime your Outlook server is not sync. You need manually sync the Outlook application, right? Sometime it has happened. It won't basically sync the mail messages. Then you need to sync it manually. That is what it is. It basically trying to communicate via this Office 365 server. To this Office 365 server via desktop API. So there is a desktop API in the Outlook application which is basically communicating to the Office 365 server and giving back the data to the Outlook application. So that is the this Outlook application. And this is again basically the same. It can basically help you to send the mail messages, also retrieve the mail messages. Both it can does. Now, people ask this question, what is the difference between Exchange mail services and Outlook application? This is very much asked in the interview question. So whenever the people ask you, you just need to first of all say that Exchange, if you are going to utilize the Exchange mail services, you don't need Outlook application running in your system. Okay, like the same, if you guys have already gone through the Excel automation, if not, that's fine, but I'm just giving the understanding that if you are using Exchange mail services, you don't need Outlook application need to be running in your system. It's not necessary. No needed for Outlook application because it directly communicating via the server. There is no need for Outlook application need to be running. But if you are using the Outlook application or maybe Outlook activities, then you definitely need the Outlook application running to the system because it's not creating a explicitly connection to the server. It's going via the Outlook application connection. Getting my point? Till now, any confusion? Just come up with that because we'll cover the again these points again going to be covered, but just as an overview, I would like to give you before starting any new topic on this.
Sir,
Hmm. Go ahead, please.
sir,
Abhishek.
it means sir, Outlook is just an application which uses Exchange mail services
Correct.
protocol.
Like just you can think about it's your WhatsApp application. So you see that WhatsApp is just the app, right? It's a mobile app. You can utilize the same WhatsApp in your web, in your desktop basically as an application, right? Agree with me till this part? But behind the scene, the WhatsApp is basically trying to, that app is trying to call the API of the WhatsApp server, right? Wherever the server is located, it's basically calling the API and generating the data from the server and fetching the details and showing to you in the WhatsApp application. That is the same I'm talking about this Outlook application. But whenever you are going to utilize this Exchange mail services, it won't happen that way. That means somewhere you are directly basically communicating with the server. You are not middleware, you are not using any application, right? There is a basically a server which you are basically via the UiPath, you are directly communicating with that. Like in the same scenario, IMAP and POP3 and SMTP has happened. You are not using any middleware between any app. You are not using. You are using some protocol to communicate with the server. Getting my point, or this
Okay,
gets
sir.
confusing? Go ahead,
No,
please.
sir, it is clear. Sir, Gmail also uses this protocol.
Correct. Gmail is basically using IMAP and POP3 both. SMTP is also using Gmail. We will
Okay,
show
sir.
you in the Gmail only. I'll show you. I'll basically in tomorrow's class maybe we'll show you the example how we will connect via the IMAP and how we will one example I'll show you how we will retrieve the mail messages via IMAP using Gmail and how we will send the mail messages using SMTP and at the backend we will use Gmail only. Okay. So that we will do. Any
Okay,
other
sir.
question? Yeah. Shubham, Pratibha, Nikhil, everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Nikhil, to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Sadan, any doubt till now?
No, I'm good.
All right, so now, as we understood, because that is why I basically covered some of the clarity on this slide, so that this slide won't give you some, hurdles like what is this IMAP written over here, what is this POP3, what is this SMTP. That is why I basically don't want you to, scared on this terminology. So now, as a broader picture, we understood that to communicate with any of the mail provider or a mail server like Gmail, Google is basically a mail server provider there. Microsoft, I would say, then we were using a Outlook or Exchange mail services there, right? Then if I talk about like Yahoo or other, so there are some mechanism in between or a protocol in between to communicate with those server. Those mechanism or those protocols are nothing but some of them are basically utilized for retrieving the mail messages and some of them are utilizing for sending the mail messages and some is providing us the both the mechanism to do that. So currently we understood that there is a IMAP, there is a POP3, there is a SMTP protocols which are generally basically we are using to retrieving or sending the mail messages via UiPath. Then there is basically again features being provided by the Microsoft side as well to communicate their services, Office 365 service, how we will connect. We can connect two ways. One is the Outlook application, and the second one is that Exchange mail services. So these are the main terminology, guys, which we have written over here. That only, nothing basically, a fancy thing on this. Okay. So now I'm moving ahead and basically, giving you some of the, basic details. This will be very useful to you because whenever we going to have a, you can say, a practical session on this, you will basically find this very much useful. So currently, when I say that we were going to utilize the IMAP, okay, we need to provide a server detail. Even though it's a Gmail, even though it's any other platform, we need to provide some server detail to that IMAP protocol. So the IMAP require always the IMAP or SMTP or POP3 require three things. Mainly two things is there. One is that server name. You need to provide the server name, the port, where basically it's going to be launch the you can say your connection, right? So the 993 for IMAP, we will use port as 993 and the server name is going to be imap.gmail.com. This is a generic port and generic server name, guys. You for you also is the same only. It's not that for me 993 and for other one having something different. Sometime it might be a chance that the 993 is blocked or maybe this port is being utilized by some other your system application or something. That time you need to maybe block or something, but that is a very rare case. I'm just telling you as a general terminology, whenever you going to basically have a connection via IMAP, via POP3 or via SMTP, you need some server or port details. So for IMAP, we have a server name as imap.gmail.com and port is going to be 993. For POP3, again the pop.gmail.com and port is going to be 995. Same for SMTP. If you are going to utilize the SMTP, it's going to be smtp.gmail.com and the port is 587 here. Okay. So this is basically a server if we are utilizing for Gmail. Similarly, if we are going to utilize the SMTP for Outlook, then what basically? That time it's going to be outlook.office365.com and the basically port is similar only. Means it is not going to not going to change. You can say port is 587 only on that scenario. Okay, no fancy thing on this. All right, agree till this part? Any question,
Yes,
any
sir.
doubt? All right.
All right. Good.
Yeah. All right then. So let's now not to basically it's a lot to talk because we were going to have a session and togetherly we will learn from the practical session more. So I'm just going to share my screen back and now we will jump to the UiPath practical session itself. All right. So let me share my screen and let me know you guys are able to see my screen. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes.
right. So now our very first step is that at today's class I'm going to show you a very basic examples, not that much complex things, so that it won't basically trouble you much. But I'll tell you some features or some terminology in that which going to be same for other servers as well. So for today's class, we will going to utilize the Outlook application itself. So here is my application. All right, here is my application. I'm going to utilize this only, and I'm going to have it the basically this application via I'm going to read or send the mail in via the Outlook application only. Today we will going to utilize Outlook application. Tomorrow will basically cover the SMTP, POP3 and IMAP and I'll see that if I can cover the Exchange mail service as well. Okay. So we will basically try to close that part. So now I'll
Gopal,
basically
one question.
yeah, go ahead please,
If
Manish.
you don't want to use the Outlook that is already configured in the machine, then how we are going to use?
Uh, Come again. You are saying like it's
We
already
don't we don't want to use the Outlook that is already configured in the machine.
Uh, means okay, you would like to basically utilize some other account in the Outlook application, right?
Without this is a Outlook that is already there in your machine, right?
Correct. I have
Configured.
configured that.
Yeah, we don't want to use the Outlook which is already configured in the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Then how we are going to use
Outlook
Outlook
application,
activity?
anyhow, see, Outlook application, if you are basically trying to do very first step, that is why I said that very first step, we were going to do the Outlook automation only, Outlook application automation only. Okay. In that scenario, if you wanted to do the Outlook application, you would like to utilize the Outlook application, you have to have the Outlook application running in your system. So first thing is that, do you want me to basically show you how you will configure that?
No, 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 no.
Hmm.
Without configuring, can't we use Outlook?
No, man. That is why I said that. See, there are ways. Basically, I'm saying that if you heard me correctly, so I said that very first currently we're going to use Outlook application only, which is basically Outlook activities. I'll come with that Outlook activities. So Outlook activities always require Outlook application need to be running in your system. You can't do that. Okay. But there are ways that if you don't want to have, like, there is a situation maybe in your production environment there is no Outlook application is running, right? But you wanted to basically run your automation mechanism or services to the production environment. How you will do that? So that time you have other services are there, like maybe you can utilize directly a Office 365 Exchange mail services. So there is a activities in UiPath mail activities package, which is basically a Exchange mail service activities. So that services won't require any Outlook application running in your system. You can utilize directly those services, and it is not using a Outlook application to connect with the server. It is basically directly connecting with the server, the Office 365 server. So currently, this is Outlook application. It is basically connect with the Office 365 server via the API behind the scene written on this application itself. On top of this application, there is a, from the Microsoft side, API is being written, which is trying to communicate with the Office 365 server, right? But I'm telling a way, there is another way that you can basically directly communicate with the Office 365 server using Exchange mail services, not with this Outlook application. Got it,
Yeah,
Manish?
got it.
Yeah. All right then. So let's just basically move to the part now. So what I would like to go ahead with that. First, I would like to give you some understanding that how basically what are the what is the very first step which we understood, what basically activities we need to utilize. So those kind of thing I would like to give you some glimpse right now. So let's just say that I'm just creating a process over here, email automation. Okay. And I'm saying that it's a class 1 session. All right. So over here, I'm just creating it. Let's create this. You see this, it's basically saying that restoring the dependency, adding the dependencies. It's not doing anything. It's just that basically adding some default packages which are come up with the every project. Whichever project you basically create in UiPath, there are some basic dependency comes up, which is basically over here as well. The by default activity now UiPath has introduced only system.activities. There is no other activities been coming. Okay. So if you need to basically do the email automation, you need to very first install a package called system.mail.activities package. Okay. So very first, I will go to the all packages, and here I will basically search a system.mail. All right. Or maybe it's not system, you can just type uipath.mail. So you search this uipath.mail.activities package here. Now, if you see this, you just need to click on this. This is the package I'm talking about, uipath.mail.activities. Some of the things, always try to basically, whenever you are trying to install a package, just try to read it out what it does. So you can see that it's basically retrieve and send a mail message using POP3, IMAP, SMTP, and Exchange protocol, which we just basically explained to you, right? So this is what basically this message help you, or this mail activities help you. It will come up with some activities which directly help you to connect with the server via maybe a IMAP protocol, or maybe a POP3 protocol, SMTP protocol, or Exchange protocol. Okay. So this is what basically we're going to install. So let me just click on the install over here. click on save. Now, once I click on the save button over here, it's going to basically add activities in the UiPath for the mail message. So currently you can see that I do have added the mail activities dependency here. If I go to my activities panel, and if I search over here mail, just I'll search the mail. So now you can see that I have some activities added over here. Let me just squeeze it little bit. And yeah, so over here, if you see, I do have some of the activities over here. App integration, maybe you can see that the mail.
I'm sorry, Gopal,
Yeah.
can you please show me where we have to add that activity once again? I mean, the
Okay, no
manage
worries.
pack.
Yeah. If you go to the manage package, go to the all packages. There you have a top of that, you have a search button. You just need to search UiPath.mail. Okay, once you search that, you have a activity being populated there, which is called UiPath mail.activities package. You just need to click on that. And after that, there is a install button in the right hand side. You just need to click on the install. Currently, for me, it's uninstalled because I have already installed it. You just need to click on the install button here. Once you click on the install, you just need to click on this save icon over here at the bottom, and then it will basically install the package for you. Got it? Everyone, please
Yeah,
do with
okay,
me.
thank you.
Everyone, please do with me so that we will together do some of the things. Shall I move ahead, or anyone needs some time to do this? It's a very basic stuff. Shall I move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, as I basically, if I go to the activity panel, as I said that if I go to the activity panel, and over here, if I just search that mail, so you can see that inside the mail, you do have a lot of activities are present over here. These are nothing but activities. You already know, I believe, basically, if you've gone through these 4 or 5 sessions till now, so you already know that these are the activities. And over here, we do have you can say this separate toggle item over here. For exchange we have a separate tab. For IMAP we do have a separate tab. For Outlook we do have a separate tab. For POP3 we do have a separate tab. So that is why I said that these are the protocol which helping us to communicate with the any of the server, and they comes up with their activity only. So if I hover the mouse to the POP3, right? If I just hover the mouse to the POP3, get POP3 email list. Over here, if you see this, what it says. It says that retrieve a POP3 email message from a specific server. That server may be a Gmail, that server may be a Yahoo, that server may be a Office 365, any of the server, right? So we can retrieve the mail messages from any of the server, but we need to have what are the main details? We need to have the server and the port detail need to be get ready, right? Very first step. Like the SMTP as well. See, SMTP mail message, what it does? It just does the sending mail messages, right? So what it say? Send an email message by using the SMTP protocol, right? That's it. So over here, as you see, as I said that, so basically the mail message comes up, basically this mail message activity comes up, lot of activity like the exchange over here, like the IBM notes, you can just for a now, you can just skip it because it's come up with the new things like IBM has also come up with their, services, mail services. So we can right now skip it because we don't have any IBM license right now. So we can skip it. Guys, if you are not talking, please go on mute. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, like over here, IMAP is again come up with their activity like IMAP. You can do delete IMAP email, get IMAP mail list, move IMAP. Like I believe someone has asked me a question: what is the difference between IMAP and POP3? You can see one more difference you can add. As you see that POP3 will allow you to retrieve only, no deletion, no move. But over here in IMAP, you do have a mechanism of deletion as well, right? So those kind of advantages you can tell as a difference. Anyway, we will come that part. Now I'm going to cover very first because I don't want to confuse any of the things right now. So let's first jump with a very basic step. Okay. I'm going to utilize not this exchange, not this IMAP, and not this POP3. Nothing. No SMTP today. In today's class, we only going to cover the Outlook activities because this Outlook activities give you some glimpse or some understanding about the mail automation. Then we will basically proceed on this IMAP, SMTP, POP3. Okay. So now in the Outlook mail message activity, you see you do have a lot of activities over here, like delete Outlook mail messages. What it does, as the name implies, it will delete some mail, right? We'll see that what argument it needs, but as a time being, you can just see that. And then get Outlook mail message means it will help you to retrieve the mail messages, right? Like mark Outlook mail as read or unread as a specific mail. Maybe that there is a requirement for you, like to mark a specific mail which having a subject as XYZ, you would like to basically mark it as read, right? So that you can do via this activity, like moving the mail to one folder to another, like this is the activity. So there are a lot of activities. We will go one by one all of those. But very first, let's cover this activity, get Outlook mail message activity. Okay. So let me just drag this activity here in this main workflow over here. If you see, so this activity, if I go to the properties, what are the properties of this activity? As I said that explicitly this Outlook activities won't correct directly a connection between the server. It just basically utilizes the same connection, which is basically a Outlook desktop application is being using, right? So what we need to do, we just need to provide some of the details to connect with the Outlook desktop application. That's it. So what are the details, mandatory details needed for this activity? So there is very first that we need to provide an account detail over here, for which account we wanted to read the mail messages. Okay. So if you see that, if I hover the mouse, try to always basically guys, this is a best practice I'm just telling you because you guys are learning right now. If you don't know nothing of any of the property, try to hover some mouse to that property so that it will help you to understand okay what it does, right? So the account over here, if you see that it's a string type of variable or a argument which basically saying that account used to access the message that are to be retrieved, means what account we wanted to use from where we wanted to retrieve the data, right? So over here we need to provide the account detail. So let me just open the variable console over here, and here I'm going to provide the account detail. So currently I'll just tell you what the account, just a second. I'll just basically, filling my details over here. All right, 1995 at outlook.com. From where did I get it? Right? This is the question from your mind. From where did I got it? So if you see over here, let me just cancel this. So if you see at the top over here, this is my account detail. gtiwari1995 at outlook.com. Right? This is the account I'm going to utilize over here, or implies over here that I'm going to use this of the account from where I need to read the details. All right. Got it, everyone, till this part? Any confusion? No confusion. Okay. Another way is that mail folder. From which folder I would like to read the data. There might be an inbox folder. There might be some other folders in there in my basically Outlook application. I just need to specify which folder I would like to read it. So currently we will go with the inbox only. We will see some later, practical session. We'll see some other folder as well to utilize. Okay. So let's now just basically go with the same mechanism. Inbox is there. Just check that inbox is already there in the system. All right, makes sense. Now you just need to basically think about this way. You already basically do that in the Outlook application. If I would like to basically search, I can just basically have a filter mechanism over here, and then basically say that if I would like to make only unread mail messages or something, or I would like to basically specify some from mail address, then I can basically specify that, right? So if I say that over here, I just would like to get the date, get the mail which basically I got from Gopal, right? So this is basically I got it from the Gopal Tiwari 325 at gmail.com. That is why it basically showing over here. So this is what, this is a filter, right? There are other ways of adding the filter, but this is basically a filter which we are basically adding in our Outlook application. So the same thing over here, in the basically activity, they have given you a mechanism where basically you can filter by the query. Like basically you can specify some query over here, maybe like subject is colon maybe XYZ. It's not a correct syntax. We will go through that, but just telling you. Okay. So there is a basically a mechanism to filter the mail messages from the data, right? From the Outlook application. So that is another way. And then maybe a filter message ID. Means filter by message ID means every message which is being stored in any of the server, there is a message ID being used. I'll show you that. So there is a message ID. Okay, I'll show you that how we'll get it. By the message ID also you can filter it out. Okay. Now there is another option called mark as read. Means whenever you are going to read the mail from the server or the application, you would like to mark it as read after that. So that check basically it's just the true or false. If you enable it, that means once it will basically read it, it will just mark it as read. Okay. And there is another checkbox over here, only unread mail messages. Means that you would like to fetch only the unread mail messages, not the read one, because there are basically n number of mail messages is being present in your application. You would like to only fetch it the newest one, right, which is not read by the anyone, right? So those basically you can make it the filter. You can say check enable or uncheck over here. Now order by date means that you would like to fetch the mail messages which is come very newest right now. Means earliest the one which is get it, you will basically fetch those as a newest first, not the oldest one. Now there is another one. It says that top. Top is like it's kind of a limit mechanism. If you guys basically familiar with the SQL side, but I'm just giving a top limit over here. It's like maybe I would say I would like to in this class I would like to get only 3 member out of 8. That is my top, right? I'm saying that I need only 3. So that is the top. So that the same only the top mechanism here, which is basically we are setting some limit. How many number of mail messages which are present in my application or in the server, which basically unread, and I would like to basically fetch only top 30. That's it. That's the basically property says. Clear till this part? Everyone basically get it or some issue? Just tell me. Guys, yes or no, please come up with that. Don't be silent.
Understood, sir.
Okay. Now let's move to the other part. Like as I said that this get Outlook mail message, what it does, as the name implies, it will just try to retrieve the mail messages for us, right? So means retrieve that it will give us something, right? Where we will store that. So that is the output, right? This is the output. And what type of output it is basically giving to us. This is the question asked in the interview. Very basic question. As a fresher time, people ask this question. What is the output of mail message, any of the get mail message activity? This is not only for get Outlook, but other mail message activity as well. Like if you are using IMAP for retrieving the mail messages, or POP3 if you are using, or basically exchange mail service you are using for getting the mail messages, you always get list of mail messages. Did you guys know what is list?
Yes, sir.
Guys, yes or no? Just basically
Yes,
go ahead.
yes, sir. It is an array, dynamic type array, sir.
Correct. It's a kind of a collection, okay, which can store a n number of different types of data, and it's a dynamic type of array. You can say that. Correct. So over here, the list of mail messages over here, if you see that, it basically require a variable which is type of list of mail messages. So let me just create a variable by Control K. I'm just creating it. So let me just define it, list of mail, LST mail messages. Okay. I just put it enter over here. So over here you can see that if I click on save and go to the variable, you will see that it has created a variable called collection of generic list. But what type of mail message? This is again a question. What type of mail message? You always say that system.net mail message activity, right? Sorry, not activity, system.net mail message class. So this mail message is the class of system.net. Okay. So now, as we basically got the list of mail messages, let me just basically first of all in the message box show you how many messages we will got it right now. So I am going to utilize this list of mail messages variable, and there is a property in this list, basically every list, and not only the list but every array or every collection have a property called count or length. Okay, so I'm using over here dot count method, which will help me to know how many mail messages it has get read. Okay, so that's this messages I'm going to utilize right now. So just run this. Let's run this. Yeah, so I got only one message because what I did, why I got only one, because in the property, if I go over here, you can see that I said that only unread messages I need. If I uncheck it, let's suppose I uncheck it. Okay, let's uncheck it. Let's now see this. Right now, how many mail I got? 4. Why? Because there is 1, 2, 3, and 4 mail messages. Got it? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now there is another thing. There is, like, let's suppose if I say top is only 3. Now what will happen? Anyone just tell me? If I say top is as 3, what will happen? How many mail messages I got now?
3, sir.
Why I got 3?
Sir, because you are just selecting top 3 messages.
Okay. Sudden? Why is that so?
Oh, 3 because those 3 are not are unread, are read.
Correct. Because both of you are correct. Why basically we have specify a limit over here. The limit, the top limit we have specified over here, that is why it is. Right? As I said that in the example, in out of this 8 class member over here present, I need just 2 member. So that is a limit, right? So that is why this top over here performing that way. This is very much helpful, guys, whenever you are building a logic. Let's suppose you having a, take example, because I don't want to give you some mugging things. Just take example of this one. Like you guys are having a basically a scenario where in the server you do have maybe 10,000 mail messages are present as unread. 10,000 mail messages, right? But the requirement is that you are basically fetching newest first. That is fine. But the requirement is that you need to fetch all of the mail messages. All of the 10,000 mail messages you need to check, because it might be a chance that your mail message which you are looking for, it's not at the whatever top you have specified, right? In that situation, if I basically remove the top as 0, or maybe just basically run it, now if I run it, you will see that it will just basically, oh sorry, my bad, I just need to basically, not 0, I just need to remove it. So if I run this now, it will just get it the data for me, the entire data for me, whatever is being present. But there is a one catch. There is one catch. Yeah, why it's showing 0, that is I know. There is a one catch in the basically the top. It always give you need to provide a number over here. Very first thing is that you need to provide a number which is basically more than a 0. Second thing is that there is a limitation with this Outlook application activity. It won't give you at a time more than 100 mail messages. It always give you 100 only, even though you specify 1,000. Maybe let's suppose I specify 1,000 over here, right? But if the number of the unread mail messages are present more than 1,000 or more than 100, it won't give me. It will directly say that, Ross, you need to basically, reiterate or do some logic mechanism at your end, which will basically, fetch the, you can say, mail messages one by one after 100, then 100, then 100, then 100, like 1,000, basically, I need to read it. So means first 100, then next 100, then next 100. That is kind of mechanism I need to write. So that time this top mechanism will always help you. Getting my point? why I'm basically emphasizing this point, because we basically at the time of developing a project, maybe email automation, sometime it might be a chance you having a requirement where you need to process more than 100 mail messages at a time. So in that situation, you won't get it if you are using this get Outlook mail message activity. It will always give you 100 only at a time.
So,
Hmm.
so if we are if we are giving the value top as 5,
Hmm.
so we are retrieving the top 5 mail, or we are retrieving all the mails and getting only the top 5 which are unread. This
Yeah,
example.
correct. So if you specify, let's suppose over here, currently you have specified 5 here. Currently what it does, it will not bother about whether it is being read or unread. It will just try to go to the mail and try to read top 5 mail messages. Is it being read or unread? It don't matter. But when you say only unread mail messages, then that time you are making a filter. You are basically sorting it out, that you are saying, no, I don't want everything. I just need only mail messages which are unread there. Right?
So
Then it
out
will
of
try. Hmm.
sir, out of latest 5 messages, we are
Correct.
getting only which are unread.
Correct. Correct. Top is kind of a limit. See, abhi take this example like this way. Let's suppose in this class right now, 8 members were present, right? But I am saying that give me 9 member out of this eight. Will it possible? I only get eight, right? That eight
Yes,
only
sir.
present right now. So that's the same example. If in my mail address only one mail is being present, which is being unread, out of five, it will give me one only, right? Because
Okay.
there is only one mail message is being present. Getting my point?
Yes,
So
sir.
see, if you go to over here, how many mail messages right now? Four mail messages, right?
Yep.
But out of four, how many unread?
I think it's one.
Only one, right? There is only one. One count is here, which is being showing over here as well. It is only one that which is being unread. So this condition basically which we have make it here, it says that only. We have set it five. We have set it the limit as five, but there is only one mail message. So it always gives us one only. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anyone has any doubt till this part? So that I'll move to the next now. No doubt, right? All right. So now, as I said that this LST mail messages, what it has a collection of messages. Agree with me, everyone? It has a collection of mail messages, right? So the mail messages has some properties, right? eh, don't basically think about like as a programming terminology, just think about this way. What are the properties in the mail? There is some, if I basically draft a new mail, right, there is some from address, means recipient detail. There is some to cc address, subject detail, some body, if it has a attachment, then attachment also. And as I said that every server or application is using some message id, right? There is some message id as well, or some other metadata details. So those are present in the mail message, every mail messages. Okay. So how we will get it? Now let's suppose if I would like to read who is the basically a mail sender, one thing, and the second thing I would like to read what is the mail subject, right, of that mail which I retrieve in the collection one by one. I maybe basically try to see that okay, who is the basically sender of the mail, and then who is the subject, what is the subject of the mail, right? So that we can check how we will do that. Currently I am not basically iterating it because we know that it's a basically a collection, so I can iterate that via using a for loop or a while loop or a do while loop, whatever basically we suits. But I just would like to show one thing over here without iterating, that every collection having a indexes, right? Every index it has stored some mail message for us, like zero index it has one mail message, first index it has another mail message, like that, right? So I'm just using over here a index, then I'm saying dot. If I use the dot property, you will see that it will give me some properties over here which are kind of similar what we saw in the mail. So you can see that it has a body property, it has a cc property. Again, don't basically just use the property, try to see that what type of argument also it is giving to you. So if I say the body always giving me a string type of variable, right? So it's fine that I don't need to basically typecast or some, over basically conversion of the data type. I don't need to do that. Okay. Similarly, if I see that BCC, it has something, it has basically as a collection of mail addresses, right? Then attachment over here, if you see that it is basically providing me the attachment, but it's not as a string form. It's saying that it's basically attachment collections. Again a collection, basically. It's a attachment collection, right? So if I go down over here, there is another property over here. If I go and say that from, this basically tell me who is the recipient, first thing. Okay. And then I'm saying that, okay, this is fine. From is there. I would also like to see in the same mail message, means the first index mail message which I'm getting, I would like to say here, I would like to say dot, there is another property called subject, right? This is, you see this sender, reply to, all of the property of the mail you have over here. How you are getting that? Because of the mail message class. Okay, don't mug up these things. Just understood that there is a mail message class, because we have the LST mail message, the list of mail message collection we do have, which is storing the collection of mail messages. And every mail message has a class called mail message, which has some properties like this header, this subject, sender, reply to, priority. Those are nothing but the priority, sorry, the properties of the class, right? So we are using the property only over here. So I just say that dot subject, and this subject again a string type only. So I don't need to do a typecasting here. I can just say that dot to string, because why we need to do the typecasting here? Just that because we have added a environment dot new line. I'll just show you that why basically we need to do that. Just a second. So currently, if I see over here, it's basically throwing me an error because of this environment. We were doing the string concatenation over here, but this environment dot new line, it's another string, but it's basically a from, which is basically a mail address. It's not a type of, you can say, you can say, a string type, right? It's a mail address type, right? So you just need to click on the dot to string as well over here. Now, if I basically run this, and if I show you, so you see this, I got a mail address from where I basically got it. It says that I got it from the Gopal Tiwari, and the mail address is gopaltiwari325@gmail.com. And the subject, because after I have basically placed a new line, that is why I'm getting a test mail, which you see over here. This is the subject. Let me just frame it a little bit more better to you so that you will see what's going on over here. Hope you guys are familiar with this string concatenation and string dot format method. Are you guys familiar with this string dot format method? Guys, yes or no?
Yes, I acknowledge.
Okay. From address, I'm just using over here. So this basically string dot format method allows us to dynamically add the variable in the string. Don't need to concatenate basically. Okay. And subject is, I'm just placing over here some indexes, and that indexes value I'm going to change from the variable which I have. So currently I'll just utilize this and then remove this. That's it. So currently what I'm doing, I'm saying that from address, 0th index I'm replacing with this from string, and the 1th index I'm replacing with this subject line. Okay. So that's it. Let me minimize it, save it. Now if I run it, see, again the same. From address, I got this, and the subject is test mail. Got it? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Anyone has any doubt, please go ahead, because it's been now the time to be asked the questions. Any question do you have? All right, no question. Now, see, there is a chance that, like, if I show you this, mark as read, I'll show you something to you. If I basically run this now, I got the data. Now, can anybody tell me if I run it now back again, what will happen?
Sir, it will show no, means it will give no output since all the messages are read.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Right, guys, it's your time, please. Okay, let me run it. See, it get filled. Why it get filled? Anybody? Because these are the question not related to the mail message activity, but it being asked. Maybe you can basically encounter these question. This is an index out of bound exception. You got it. Why you got it? Because the message, the list basically which you are getting over here, it's empty, and you are trying to utilize the indexes of that list, which is nothing, which is there is nothing in the zeroth index, right? So that is why it get failed, index out of bound, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's just basically, as we basically see till now, like how we gonna, you can say, you know, you read the mail message via the indexes. Let's basically not do that way. Let's basically, put a for each mail basically, the loop basically. Okay, so over here, this for each email activity require a email message basically, LST mail messages as a input over here as a iterator basically. Okay, and over here we can also limit the basically how many number of iteration we wanted to do. That is again the same only of this activity, and it says that would we like to basically retrieve the attachment from the mail message or not, all those things. And if you would like to basically unread mail message via filtration and all those things, it basically does the same only. So now if I just place this, so this basically, need to be go inside the Outlook card. So there is a basically it's you can say a UiPath Studio X based activity. Right now, let's not go with this because you will again confuse it. I just go with the plain for each right now for a time being, and then I'll explain that part to you. So that require another kind of a, you can say, activity there, like Outlook card, and inside that Outlook card we need to establish a connection. Right now in the Outlook activity we don't need to establish a connection, but in the Outlook card we need to establish a connection because that UiPath has built for Studio X user, which is basically a, you can say, a business user nowadays basically, who having not much knowledge about the coding but they want to learn UiPath. They can go with that tool Studio X, right? So that is another tool basically. So let me just place a variable over here, LST mail messages, and here I would like to place a log messages to show you the same thing in the iteration basically how it does. So let me just say that string dot format, we'll just say that email from and subject details. Now I'll say over here in the loop basically we will get a current mail message you can say a variable which is having the similar kind of a property now. So in the current mail message I do have a from, and also I do have a subject, right? So this I can basically pass it over here, and this I can do the dot to string because it's a mail message type. So let's just basically place it and run it. Now, if I go over here in the Outlook activity and make it, just as unread, So that, or not unread, let's do one thing. Let's read all of the mail messages. Why to basically read only unread? Let's read all of them. Yeah, let's read all of them and run this. So what we are doing, we have iterated all of the mail, and you can see that now in the logs, if I show you very first mail message, which you saw that it's mine from my end only, and subject is the test mail, and then email from it's again some Microsoft mail from the Microsoft side, and the subject line says that updates to our teams or something, which I show you over here itself. This is basically it referring for. And then similarly the another one like the same, it has basically read it out. So this is the way of reading a mail. Okay, now you can basically add a filter over here, like you can basically use some controls, some if condition over here. Let's say you say that if maybe you can say that if lst mail, sorry, not lst, you can say that current mail message dot from dot contains, right? Dot to string dot contains, maybe you can say that if it is coming from Gopal Tiwari, right? If it's coming from this mail address, then only you wanted to proceed ahead or do some processing. Otherwise, you wanted to just continue. That condition you have added over here, and in that condition, whenever this condition is true, you only just wanted to basically log it. Otherwise, you don't wanted to do that. So those kind of filtration you can add in the for loop. Okay. So this in this time it will basically run and show the detail for only one time, not others. Right? Getting my point, everyone?
Yes, sir.
And the similar
Yes.
thing, yeah, and the similar thing we can do like the filtration I show you. So the similar one thing is that we can basically filter it in the using the for loop. Basically, this is a time consuming thing, I would say. Once you basically first read the mail message, have it in the list of mail messages, then you will basically loop it via the for loop or some other loop, and then one by one you are basically checking all of the mail messages, and then taking some action on those on the basis of condition. It is very much time consuming. There is another way basically to do that. It's called a filter mechanism, right? Filter mechanism, which we will see tomorrow, because it having again a vast variety of things over this part. Like we can basically filter via two or three ways, through three syntax ways. So that I'll explain you tomorrow on this part. I'll just basically one thing I can basically show you here, that to as it basically says that filter by message ID also, na. So let me show you the message ID as well here. And message ID is it's under the, I believe, let me just check that. I think it's under the subject. Sender email address, it's a mail message. Sender is this, subject to get hash code. It will basically show you the address or user, both the things separately. That is the different thing. Let's not utilize this. I think it's not giving. Let's utilize. There is a property basically in this which will tell you like where is the message ID is being stored. Delivery notification option. Maybe this. No. Just a second, guys. I'm just looking to that where which property will help us to get the message ID as well, because it require in the property. I would like to show you from where you will get it. So just a second, headers, what I believe. Yeah, header is having basically a string format. Let me just provide over here a name called or maybe just not provide this. Just okay. So let's see which basically key it is using for the message ID to be stored. Then we'll see. Yeah, so it's in the message ID only. Okay, so let's utilize this one only. I think it's message ID only. Not getting anything. Just a second. We are getting here. It's under the header property only, but okay. It's not to this. Okay. Leave it with me. I'll basically explain you this part also tomorrow. That what basically message ID, which property. I believe it's a header only, but in the header, which key we were using for that, that need to check. So that is basically we'll explain and we'll show you like how we will basically get the message ID and what is the purpose of that to have it and what we can utilize that way. Okay, so that I can basically explain. And tomorrow we will basically cover the similar topic, but just that we will add couple of more things in that like we will try to basically first of all see how we will send the mail message via the Outlook activity, and also we'll see that with the Outlook activity how we having a attachment. So over here if you see like in the if I just show you in the messages, so like if I just add over here like current mail message dot attachments dot count. So currently we will get only 0 because we in any of the mail message we don't have any attachment there, right? So that is maybe this it will count, or yeah, it is not basically because there is nothing in the attachment, right? As an attachment there is nothing, so that is why it's saying 0. But if there is an attachment, then how we will basically save that attachment and how we will basically utilize that attachment in our solution, that also we will see in the tomorrow's class. Okay guys, so is there any question till now? Anyone has any doubt? You can ask, maybe we can, otherwise we can wrap it up.
Gopal, I just want to know, as per, I mean, in Power Automate desktop, as per JSON, will keep on give the CC and subject lines in one tab. I mean, if you open in I mean, Outlook, if you go to Outlook option, if you give line by line, we'll give the options, will automate the email to be send or list of email and whatever it may be. So here we have to give in different one. I mean, variables, we have to store everything, or else it may have the same option.
No, it will basically, you can do one thing. Like there are ways to do that. Like you, as I said that currently, what I said, basically, this current mail message is what? It's a mail message class, right? This mail message class itself, you can convert it into the JSON format and can utilize. There is a one thing that you can convert this JSON, this class object, and then you can basically convert it into the serialized format. Let's do that. So if I just show you newtonsoft.json dot JSON converter dot deserialize object, right? Serialize object, and then I'll say current mail message. Now if I will run it, currently it says that read timeout operation. I think let's make it this one first of all. Just go with the one mail message. Okay, only read mail message. And then let's try this. Okay. Something wrong here. So because why it's coming? Because it's getting a timeout error there. Just a second. I'll place this instead of message box, I'll place it here. And if I run it now, here also it's getting the same. Newtonsoft serialization read timeout system IO. Something is basically breaking it right now, but it's a lambda method or something which getting wrong over here. But the way of what you are telling is like we can basically serialize a class object itself. Okay, that class object, the serialized object, we can utilize further in our, like the way you do in the Power Automate. You have a JSON format, then you can basically convert it or utilize that JSON in your further processing, instead of basically holding it into the variable, multiple variables, and then doing so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the thing, I think something is breaking over here. Soft.json. It shouldn't be basically break. Just a second. Like something, maybe the class is not serializable. They have make it non-serializable class. That is why. But it's something like which is breaking over here. But that's again the same only. Like if we can convert it into the serialized object, then we can basically utilize as a JSON format directly. But like in the Power Automate, you are getting an output as a JSON format. That is why you are able to do that, right? Or one thing we can maybe uh, do that by converting this list of mail messages activity. I'll show you this example tomorrow. This is a good question. I haven't tried that. Let's do that together.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. No worries. Yeah. Anyone has
Uh,
any questions?
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, can I step out real quick because I have to because I'm under the weather at the moment. So
Mhm. Oh, sorry. Yeah, please.
yeah, sorry. Thanks.
Anyone, any question, anything? Guys, if you don't have any question, like we make and wrap it up, but this is basically a very basic for today's class. Like I just would like to give you what is mail automation, what the activities present there, and then what are the protocols we would like to say. So that's basically it. We will from tomorrow's onward, that is going to be a more practical session, not basically a talk, and then we will try to see a lot of hands-on activity there. Okay. All right, then I think we can basically, stop sharing and can drop it up.